Welcome to Simplify to Scale, a show dedicated to helping you scale a high impact and high profit business that you love without all of the complexity and chaos that can keep you trapped in the day-to-day. I'm your host, Krista Grasso, and with decades of scaling experience, I know what actually works and what's just hype. So if you are done with all of the one-size-fits-all scaling advice and all of the overnight success promises, and instead you want proven practical strategies that will help you simplify operations, elevate your leadership, amplify profits, and scale sustainably, let's dive in and get started. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Simplify to Scale show. Today, we're going to be talking about AI, but from a different perspective than what you might be thinking. So as you know, right, AI is all of the talk these days, something we talk about quite often. But one of the things that I want to highlight that I think is really important, especially as we start to get into more usage of AI agents and where you are actually allowing some sort of technology to do multi-step things for you, potentially posting things on your behalf, potentially sending things on your behalf, potentially updating your systems and your tools, maybe even your clients on your behalf. Before any of that happens, there are some things that are really critical to have in place. So while today's discussion is about AI, it's actually not about AI at all. It is about the precursor to being able to use AI effectively in this kind of new world, if you will, this new evolving space where the capabilities of what AI can do and the complexity and the multi-step, multi-layered nature of what AI can do is advancing really rapidly. I don't think we're too far off now from so much of our team being very AI focused. I actually have some really cool things I'm working on that I will tell you all about at a later point in time about the team structure that I see in the future of small business, where we are leveraging AI for some of these things much more. So people do not go away at all, still really critical, but it's more of a lean team and it's a very specific structure. But we're going to talk slightly different angle today, as I said, about what you need to have in place to actually be able to leverage AI in a way that does not create more AI slop, more issues, more horror stories like the ones that you probably have heard about OpenClaw and all the other things that are out there. And instead, something that actually really supports not only the goals and the outcomes and the objectives that you're looking to move towards in your business, but also the way that you run your guiding principles, your DNA, your brand itself. And so with me is Miss Jessica Main, per usual. Super excited that Jess is back on the show. So you're getting both of us and our perspectives today. So Jess, anything you want to add before we dive in?
It's really exciting to have this conversation this way because there are so many things that you can do with AI. And I think that a lot of people just don't know what to do. So they're kind of in a holding pattern of just like, okay, I can do this, I can do that. But understanding those fundamental components that should be in place. And like you said, AI is not replacing the human component and involvement if it's used correctly. And so it's one of those things where I'm really excited to have this conversation because it really puts a lot more intention behind the use of AI in a progressive and meaningful way instead of just going through the motion. And so I'm really excited to dive into that.
Okay, and I'm going to break the bad news first for you all. So for everyone who says, yes, AI agents, I can use AI and I don't have to hire and onboard and train somebody. I don't need systems for somebody because I'm going to use AI. Well, the only way AI is going to work really well is if you hire and train and onboard and give your AI systems. And so, in a world where we are using more AI agents, where you are basically using them again to do more complex, multi step, logic based things that you may have had a person doing in the past. Well, if you think about if you want it done properly, you want it done well, you want it done based on the way that things work within your business, not just generally, well, you have to properly train it. And so this is where one of the absolute best things that you can do right now is a thing that you probably wish I would not tell you to do right now, but I'm going to tell you is really, really critical. The best thing that you can do right now is get really clear on your systems, get really clear on, again, your brand DNA, what success looks like for you, your guiding principles, how you do things specifically, not the instructions that anybody could plug into an AI tool to get the steps for, but the things that are unique to your brand and your business, why you do what you do, how you do what you do, very specific to your business and your client versus the kind of generic things that are out there. That is honestly one of the most important things that you can be focused on if you want to be able to leverage this technology in a meaningful way. Everyone and their brother's 85th cousin is out there telling you that all you need is their prompt and their tool and their something. And the reality is that is not what is going to actually fit in the future of small business long term. You're probably already seeing that we're moving beyond a place of using AI as a kind of almost like a ping pong match where you put in a prompt, it gives you a response, you refine or put in the next prompt. Like that was the early days of AI usage. If you're still using AI that way, there is so much more that's available to you. And over time, that will kind of become the blockbuster of AI usage. It's going to evolve even more beyond that. And so you know probably already today, based on what you're doing, that the quality of the prompt, the quality of the input is what has given you the quality of the output. Well, if you look at a team and you think of AI agents as basically team members, which they can be in a lot of ways, there are certain pieces of things you're not going to have them own potentially, but there's a lot of things they can own. And if you think about that, well, you need to really have really good inputs, really, really, really good inputs if you want high quality outputs. If you want outputs that you would be proud of, that you would trust to put out into the market or put in your clients' hands or even use internally within your business. And so that's where it really is important to get super clear on what success looks like. Jess, what do you want to add to this? Because I know it might be common sense to some of you, but I will tell you most of the conversations I have with people are not thinking about it this way. A lot of people don't even fully really understand what it means to leverage AI agents or to even have AI as almost an integrated part of the team versus a tool that you're just using to prompt and kind of get output out of.
Exactly. And when it comes to the output, it's really analyzing before you even utilize it is what are you looking for? What is success? So is it AI actually executing something for you? Is it to be a partner in trying to brainstorm and figure some things out? It's one of those things where I think sometimes people approach the use of AI because it is this. A lot of times it's positioned as like a chat function that they end up creating more work for themselves. And one of the interesting things that I actually read in a recent article is that if you utilize AI more than 7% of your day, then you've already tiptoed into the inefficiency category. And the interesting thing is because the people that use AI typically 7% or less throughout their day, they are very targeted and they know exactly what it is that they're looking for, what the output might be. And so that output could be more dialogue, it could be becoming laser focused on something, or it could be actually executing a specific task. Because we already know as fast as AI has been moving, and the way we're staying ahead of everything is if you're still just having a chat dialogue with AI, then you're really kind of behind in a sense because it's evolving so quickly. And so when you're really targeting your outputs in a sense of, okay, I'm laser focused and I'm super clear on what it is I needed to do or how I wanted to respond, then I've noticed that you tend to probably dwell in that 7% or less range, to the point where AI is an asset to the way you're working, thus also not replacing the human component, but you're also using it just to complement the way you work, or it's actually the assistant that you need it to be, instead of it having to be something that's taking over. Because when you get so wrapped up in feeling like you need to use it, sometimes I've even noticed people, and I've had conversations to where it's completely disrupted the way that they work as an individual, as a human. And so they're challenging themselves in a way, but they're going in because their systems are not as clear, and because they're not exactly certain about the outputs that they're looking for. They just kind of aimlessly wander. And that's kind of where I reference that holding pattern. You just realize that it's just there. And that's when you exceed that 7%, and you're spending more time, and then it's taking away from your day-to-day activity. So overall, I do think that it is very critical to at least be clear with your systems. And the good thing about that is you can use AI to help you become more concrete on your system, so that you can have those as an anchor. But at the same time, that is extremely critical to being successful with its use cases.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that statistic. I think that's so interesting. And if you really genuinely think about it, how much more efficient are you with AI? Like, yes, there's a thing that maybe used to take you a day to do that now you can do in an hour. Or there's a thing that would have taken you an hour to do that you can do in 10 minutes. Cool. Like in those instances, you are absolutely saving time. But how much extra time was spent on things that weren't actually necessary? And I find really, I feel like I'm on a mission to please, for the love of all things, stop with the AI slop. Like, it's not just, it's like, don't do the sets of three, don't do the contrasting statements, don't do the darn M dashes, don't do, like, I still see people so clearly copying and pasting their content out of AI. And I immediately dismiss someone who does that. If I can tell that it was copied and pasted out of AI, I don't trust for a moment that it originated in someone's thought leadership. I assume it was just something that came out of AI. It takes like 5 seconds to clean something up, but I see so many people still doing that. But I think as we start to get into a place where you're not just prompting AI and then copying and pasting what it's giving you, but you're enabling an agent to actually go in and not only create that content, but post that content on your behalf, create the graphics for you on your behalf. And it's doing all of this automagically without you having to individually prompt it and tell it what to do. It's just doing it. I think the risk of that AI slop is going to get even bigger. Like, we are going to see more and more and more. And it's going to be AI slop on top of AI slop comments. And it's just going to be a complete beast and mess out there. I mean, we already see some of that, but I think it's going to get worse and worse as people start to use AI agents more regularly. And kind of your average person, your average brand starts to do so, versus those who really kind of been the forward thinking people in the AI space. And so with all of that being said, there are some really, really simple ways to avoid that. And it all comes down with making sure that you are giving it the right inputs so you're getting the right outputs. And so you can have it amplify your thought leadership versus detract from it. And so you can be the one who stands out as that true thought leader, that very human-led, human-centered brand, even if you're using a technology and a tool, because you are not letting AI be the one to create for you. You are letting AI be the one to kind of work for you. And it's a total night and day difference. And so to kind of put a bow on this a little bit, here's what I would recommend. Pretend that you are hiring an actual person and think about what you would do with this person and what you would give this person for them to be successful in their role. And if you already have this, if you already have a fantastic onboarding process, if you already have a lot of clarity in job descriptions, in success criteria, in measures and metrics, if you already have a lot of clarity in the kind of brand isms, I call it, like the way you work and the way you think and the way that you are as a culture, as a company, if you already have a lot of that in place, this transition will be a lot easier for you. You'll need to understand the technology around making it happen, but you'll have those fundamental pieces in place. If you do not yet have that, invest in doing it now. If you struggle to hire good people, if you struggle to onboard good people, if you struggle to have people produce measurable results, if you constantly keep repeating yourself and people aren't getting things, and you feel like maybe there's a lack of clarity or really just a lack of real good understanding of what the job is and what the job does and what success looks like and what makes someone successful in your specific ecosystem, then now is the time to define that and truly treat it as if you are hiring someone. One of the things we teach inside our certifications and that we partner with all of our clients on is creating role success kits. It's part of the overarching company playbook, the success playbook for the company. And so you want to make sure that you have role success kits in place, whatever you call it. That's our language. Call it what you want, but something that makes it really clear what success looks like in performing different functions and wearing different hats in the business. Even if a person may wear multiple hats, you may also have an AI tool suite that's wearing multiple hats, but they should have a role success kit. They should know what role they're playing and what success looks like and exactly what the do's and the don'ts and the constraints and the conditions and all of those things are for your particular business. So this is really just about that thing that you wish I didn't say again, but you need your systems in place. You need everything in place around proper onboarding and measurement and all of the things that you need to run a successful team. You need to successfully run AI and AI agents in the future of small business. So anything you want to add before we wrap this up, Jess?
The only thing that I'd like to add is you've already touched on the emphasis on the role success kits, et cetera. But as you are trying to determine how you want to utilize AI within your team structure, it's also thinking about who does what when, and then it's also I clearly defining what AI will be used for. Because I think a lot of people have this misconception that AI is just a catch-all of all of the things that you don't want to do or don't like to do. Now, it can help you optimize your pain points and help you get through those, and not take as much, as much time or whatever the case may be. But it's how you strategically apply that, and making sure that you're not just putting all of that into a bucket, expecting it to really solve itself. And so as much as you want to define the way that you want it to be used, it's also identifying the ways that it won't be used and making sure that you protect certain aspects of your business, because there are certain things that we know internally that, okay, we don't put this subject matter into AI or whatever the case is, because you want to be very clear and careful with how you are utilizing some of those components.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And again, this is just kind of the tip of the iceberg. I'm just putting this out as a little teaser to get you thinking about some stuff. There is a lot that you can do as we look to what's truly capable with AI. And we're going to be sharing a lot more about this. This is something that we are working on really intently behind the scenes here in Lean Scaling Co., which I'm quite excited about. It's something that everyone in our certification programs is learning and getting access to so they can start to leverage this with their clients. We've got some really, really great stuff coming. And of course, within our Soul Collective, we do AI implementation labs every single month. Jess leads them. We're always keeping you on top of what's coming. So if that's something, if you want to dip your toes in right away, you can join us inside Soul Collective. It's strategicopsinstitute.com/collective. But I encourage you to stay tuned because we have some really interesting things coming. And I will say, having been in conversations with a whole lot of people, there's not a lot of people really seeing what's coming and really getting ahead of what's coming. So I encourage you to be one of the ones who's actually on the leading edge of this instead of the lagging edge of this, because I think the gap between businesses is going to widen over time. And you will do yourself a very big service if you are the one leading and ahead instead of the one who is wondering what just happened and trying to catch up later. And so we are very much on a mission to, like I said, get rid of the AI slop that's out there, turn it into an actual strategic asset that helps scale the business, that helps you as the founder get out of the day-to-day, or if you're the right hand, that helps you make scaling possible in a way that's not dependent on the founder and that also doesn't burn you out in the process. And so we've got some good things coming. And with that, we'll see you again next week. If you are a visionary founder ready to get yourself out of the day-to-day operations of your business and scale in a much more simple, sustainable way, I have just the thing. Register to join me for my Scale Simpler workshop at scalesimpler.com. In it, I break down the hidden barriers that keep you trapped in the day-to-day of your business and what to do to finally extract yourself once and for all so things do not keep coming back onto your plate. And if you're someone who partners with founders as their right-hand advisor, consultant, or fractional, I invite you to explore our scaling certification and licensing programs at strategicopsinstitute.com.